September 22nd, 2006. We're skipping our 4th hour. We're not even plan right now.
I have a question.
I'm telling Cassie's family, but she had number one. We have to stick with the plan. And she's perfect, so she's gonna die.
Chilling, isn't it? The laughter, the indifference. These aren't seasoned criminals talking. They're two teenage boys, 16-year-old Brian Draper and Torey Adamcik, planning the unthinkable. Their target, Cassie Jo Stoddart, a sweet, responsible 16-year-old girl with her whole life ahead of her. And yet, to these two, she was just perfect to die. Cassie had no idea what was coming when she invited Brian and Torey over to hang out while house-sitting for her aunt and uncle. It was a quiet Friday night, September the 22nd, 2006. Cassie's boyfriend, Matt Beckham, was there too. They watched movies, laughed, and, for all intents and purposes, had a typical teen hangout. What Cassie didn't know was that this would be her final night. The next morning, Matt couldn't get in touch with her, and 2 days later, her aunt and uncle's 13-year-old daughter stumbled upon a nightmare: Cassie's lifeless, bloodied body on the living room floor. Police wasted no time piecing together Cassie's final hours. The first step? Find out who she was with. It didn't take long for Brian and Torey's names to pop up. So, the police brought Brian Draper in for questioning on September the 26th, followed by Torey the next day. And as he waited for the officers to come in, watch how Brian nervously fidgeted and slumped, all classic signs of trying to shrink away from confrontation. The interrogators make it clear why he's there.
Hey, Brian. Hey. Here we talked to your folks, and just kind of told them they're filled in, and they're comfortable with the fact that we'll sit down and kind of, the other night we hashed over some things about, where you were and all the details and stuff, and, as you well know, as you recall, you're one of the last 3 people, to see Cassie, and so it's so important and critical that we just answer some questions and we get by some of those things. And so kind of preface that with your folks. They're good for you sitting in here. I want to remind you that, of course, you're not under arrest. Okay, you're free to leave, and if you don't have to answer any questions that you don't want to, and at any time you can walk out that door and go hook up with your parents. Okay, so we're not making you stay here for any reason.
Torey was also brought in and interrogated in a similar manner, with calm and friendly interrogators aiming to make him feel at ease.
We're going to start I know we talked the other night about, first of all, why we're here, and we're investigating a homicide.
Yes.
That Cassie Stoddart was murdered.
Yes.
And because of the fact that you were, one of the last 3 people, there, and you had knowledge of her and stuff like that, it's common course that we want to go and interview people and find out what you know. We'll go ahead and start first. I guess as I recall in the statement before, you've known Cassie for about how long?
From 10th grade.
Okay. So you've known her for a little while.
Yes.
He asked about his relationship with Cassie and what went down on Friday night. For some reason, he starts to look a little nervous.
So what is your relationship with Cassie?
Friends.
Okay. Is it any, you ever dated her or anything like that, or just strictly kind of friends? How often do you see her, maybe during a week?
Every day at school, but this would be my 3rd time hanging out with her outside of school.
Okay, so you guys decide to go, plans are made, it's Friday. What time do you get ready? What time do you end up, how does it work out that you and Brian head out to?
What time?
I'll just refer to as what.
And then
About around what time do you think it was?
I don't know, maybe between 7 and 7:30.
However, it's important to note that the 2 boys had recorded themselves in the car, revealing their disturbing intentions.
We found our victim, and sad as it may be, she's our friend. But you know what? We all have to make sacrifices. Our first victim is going to be Cassie Stoddart. She's going to be alone in a big, dark house out in the middle of nowhere. How perfect can you get?
That night, they scouted another girl's house but found it empty, leading them to focus their attention on Cassie and Matt instead. In the footage, Brian chillingly admitted,
"There should be no law against killing people. I know it's a wrong thing, but..."
For reasons unknown, They decided not to follow through that evening. However, the recording captured more chilling statements, showcasing their twisted mentality regarding poor Cassie.
I mean, like, holy shit, dude.
I'm horny just thinking about it.
Hell yeah.
Torey claimed that he and Brian had planned their visit to Cassie's house earlier that Friday while at school. But in truth, their school day scheming wasn't about an innocent hangout. Behind the scenes, they were filming themselves detailing a far more sinister plan.
September 22nd, 2006. We're skipping our 4th hour. We're writing our plan right now. I'm telling Cassie's family, but GIB number 1. We have to stick with the plan. And she's perfect, so she's gonna die.
This was horrifying, to say the least. But at this point, the interrogators were still in the dark, as this particular footage had yet to be uncovered from its hiding place. That Friday night, after filming their terrifying statements, Brian and Torey went to Cassie's house, where Matt greeted them outside before they all settled in to watch a movie.
So we look at a bunch of movies and stuff,
Okay.
and then I think
Did you look through those movies?
I did.
Okay. Do you like movies? I mean,
Yes.
what kind of movies? What's your favorite kind of movies?
I like horror movies.
Okay. So you like horror movies?
Yeah.
During the interrogation, investigators zeroed in on 2 key points: Brian's obsession with horror movies and Torey's knowledge of the house's layout, both crucial to understanding what happened that night.
What would you say is your favorite movie of all?
All time, my favorite movie would have to be. To be honest, I would have to say Halloween. My favorite movie.
Okay.
It's a good one.
Good movie, it is.
That's a pretty good classic.
Yeah, it is. Up on the front porch, and he said,
Is,
"Hey guys."
is that like up on the balcony? Is that
Yeah.
up like on the second level?
The balcony.
Yeah, so
And
he
said,
come out of the
"Hey,
house
guys,"
to
yeah.
greet you. Okay.
And so we were inside the house, we're like, "Oh my crap!" And it's a huge house and stuff.
So what does this mean? Well, it's simple, because it's clear that the boys carefully scoped out the house, noting every single hiding spot and exit. So before leaving, it's understandable that they could have used a basement door for a stealthy return later. Around 8:50 p.m., Brian claimed he got bored and decided to head home, with Torey promising to come back for Matt later. But at this point, the interrogators asked Brian about the layout of the downstairs room, which had an electrical panel. They pressed him, suggesting his fingerprints might be on it, which Brian denied, saying he didn't recognize the panel even though his fingerprints had already been found on it.
So you check out that room. Do you notice anything about that room that's, I mean, was the lights on in it when you were there?
Lights were off. And
So you guys had to open the door.
You turn it on. And I remember thinking it was kind of out of, in the way of
kind of
the
a weird
house.
place
Kind of
for a
weird
room.
place to have a room. So.
Okay.
That's all I
Did you
know.
notice anything on the walls? Do you know what a,
Like
do you know what
painting or whatever?
well, maybe like that, but you know what an electrical panel is? Like the breaker box that you turn the breakers on in the house?
Like the.
Been hanging open on it, you probably would have noticed that,
Well,
maybe?
yeah.
Okay, so you didn't shut the door on it, it was open, so your fingerprints wouldn't be on that panel for any reason. You don't remember like
No.
shutting the door or putting your hand
I
up
walked
against
in
the wall?
there. I don't think my prints would be on that. It's because I didn't know exactly where.
The focus on this room was no accident. This was the area where the boys had left a door unlocked, setting the stage for their deadly return just 15 minutes after saying goodbye. And right after leaving, this is what they recorded. Brace yourselves.
The time is 9:50, September 22nd, 2006. We know there's lots of doors. There's lots of places to hide. I locked the back doors, so it's all locked. Now we just gotta wait.
At this point, the police didn't yet have the incriminating videos, so all they could work with is the boys' body language and their own mistakes. In their naivety, Brian and Torey stuck to their alibi. First, Brian insisted they went to a movie theater after leaving Cassie's place. But here's the catch, they were already watching Kill Bill at Cassie's house. So why leave so soon just to watch another movie, especially after ditching their friends? Watch how Brian dug himself into a hole next.
And then you buy the ticket, but you're inside.
Yeah.
So then you go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And you come back out. No, they're not letting you in the movie until 10 o'clock.
And then I go to the movie maybe 5 to 10 minutes before it's.
So they were sitting and everything. So it wasn't like wait until 10 o'clock, right? So you got in.
We had to wait a little bit because there's a movie in there before, I think.
Okay.
That's what happened.
So you don't remember any details about this movie at all. How long were you in the movie for?
We were in there maybe 20 minutes, and I called Matt,
Okay.
and
You called him or Torey called him?
Torey called him.
And you remember what time that was? We're here to help you, bro. I mean, really, we are.
You know what happened. Okay?
What?
You didn't go to the movie.
We didn't go to the movie. Okay, that's it.
Okay, before you do that, just listen carefully to Andy, okay?
Okay? Now listen to me. Don't underestimate how much we know.
Yeah.
Okay? I told you the first night that when I saw you that I don't think you're the type of person that could kill somebody cold-bloodedly.
Especially my close friend. Yeah.
Especially your close friend.
Of course.
Okay?
Okay. Hold on a second. Okay.
After fumbling through his made-up story, the interrogators made it crystal clear they weren't buying Brian's theatre alibi. I mean, seriously, it was just too ridiculous. So Brian quickly realized he's cornered. Watch as he tried to come clean, but in true psychopath fashion, he made a drastic slip of tongue.
Okay, so this is the truth.
Yes, this is the truth.
You can, these things we should be able to go out and confirm.
Yes.
And corroborate.
This is. I was trying to hide this because I heard from a friend that that's 10 years in prison.
What exactly were you doing? Tell me exactly what you were doing.
We parked outside her house. Outside her house.
Whose house?
No, I lost
That's right. Okay, just do
Cassie's
something
house.
right now. Let's do something right now.
Yeah.
Just take a minute. We'll all be quiet for a minute. You can take a few deep breaths. Okay.
Yeah.
Really go deep and do some soul searching and get your, get your wind back, and then you can go ahead and tell us. Okay.
But that isn't all. Brian actually smiled and shrugged when Cassie's murder and his involvement in it came up. Suspicious? You bet.
If you're involved in that, and if you are, that's fine. We can deal with that.
Fine.
We can deal with that. If you're involved in that, and if you are, that's fine. We can deal with that.
Fine.
We can deal with that.
Anyway, Brian tried to recenter himself and explained what he and Torey were actually doing that night. It was a classic red herring case where he pretended that they were trying to rob cars because it was a petty crime compared to, well, literal murder.
All right. We left her house. Okay. We parked over here by the grass.
Okay. Matt's taking a polygraph tomorrow. Okay.
Okay.
And a lie detector test.
Of course.
We're gonna ask that.
Okay.
Okay. Now you're saying that he has knowledge of that. You're gonna go through cars.
Yes.
Of course, the interrogators turned up the heat after all his stammering explanations, pointing to their tracks near Cassie's house. Brian hurriedly denied it, but his anxiety started to show.
Get back up the hill, man.
Behind the house Cassie was house sitting for. No reason why.
We didn't go back there after that. No.
We didn't go back to the house.
Well, like what time?
No. At any time, have you gone down that hill to the road down below?
Like.
At any time in your life, have you ever gone from the road down below? You know where the driveway is?
Yeah.
Okay. Behind the house, gone down that hillside and down to the road.
I do remember on the way out, we're having a hard time. Like you're trying to find everything.
What do you mean?
Like I do remember.
No, listen. Listen to me. Okay.
Take a wrong road.
I'm gonna show you.
You're walking. Did you walk out the back of the house? Did you walk up that side of the hill?
No.
Okay.
You didn't go back there on Saturday out to Cassie's house, did you?
I called her though.
Talk to her?
No, she didn't.
Would your footprints ever be found behind this house?
No.
Going down the hill to a road?
Oh, I went to see her dog that was on the left side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did you go down the hillside down to the road just to check it out?
No.
Okay, you didn't ever do that?
No.
Okay, what about Torey?
No.
Now let's shift to Torey. He was called in right after Brian, and knowing Brian's theatre alibi had already fallen apart, he quickly switched to the car burglary story instead.
Remember his description of the cars, the color of the cars, what kind of door handles they had on them?
I don't know what kind of cars. I don't usually pay attention to that. We passed a lot of cars.
Were these cars parked on the street?
On the street. We don't.
They're all parked on the
We
street.
don't go into cars that are in driveways usually.
When you went into these cars, so you can't give us like a color of a car.
I got
Like the first
a
one
white
or something.
one.
Okay, a white one.
I can't remember what kind it was though.
Sure, it was a smart move to stick to the second alibi, but one that was bound to fail. Because remember when Brian said they didn't steal anything from the cars that night? Well, Torey was going to blow that cover wide open.
So you got into 4 or 5?
Yeah, about 4 or 5.
But you didn't take anything? No CDs?
No. Yes, I have a CD case.
Was that from that night?
Oh yeah, I can't remember. That was from another night. That wasn't from that night.
Oh, okay.
But not that night, or yes that night?
Okay.
I can't remember.
You think he came from a van
Yes.
down on that street somewhere? There?
Yeah.
White van.
Yes.
Ford.
So as you can see, Brian and Torey's house of cards was starting to come down. The previously calm and friendly interrogators switched gears. From good cop to bad cop, they started drilling Torey on where they went after their so-called car burglary, and things were about to get a lot harder for him.
That's the time that we were looking through and just gathering up everything.
Okay, help me because I'm still remember? So you get back to the car and you make the call. It's 10:48 according to the cell phone. It's a 2-minute call. You call Matt. And you confirm it that Matt's not. You don't have to take Matt for a ride. He's gonna stay there or whatever he's gonna do. Long and the short of it is you're not taking him with you.
Yeah.
So what do you do then? You guys you sit in the car? You say you went through your stuff, but you said you didn't get much. Like
Yeah, I
so
just
it's not
put
a
it in my pocket, looked through it, and then dropped it in my changes. Then I went into my back seat, just looked around because all my books and stuff were thrown around out of it, my backpack, from my school.
Okay, so you
so I just basically straightened that up.
What's Brian doing?
Brian just sitting there
So you're just spending this time tidying up your car?
Talking, pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Then we left.
The interrogators pushed Brian on his and Torey's alibi next, getting him to confirm the car burglary story. And Brian, eager to match Torey's story, started to crack under pressure. Listen closely as the interrogators ask him point blank if he murdered Cassie.
There's nobody that's going to see you guys sneak back into the house.
No.
That didn't happen.
No.
And there's nobody that's going to see you around the house on Saturday.
No.
We're not going to find those people.
No. We were at our house at all.
Did you have anything to do with the murder? Did you have anything to do with the murder of Cassie?
No. No, I did not have anything to do with the murder of Cassie.
Torey?
No.
Did you have anything to do with the murder of Cassie?
No. No, I did not have anything to do with the murder of Cassie.
Okay, and you're being square on that.
Of course.
And if we offer you a polygraph test, lie detector test,
Yes.
we're going to ask you those
You'll
questions.
take it, yes.
We want
sure.
you to take that.
Of course I'll take it.
Okay.
Did you catch that? When the officer bluntly asked Brian if he murdered Cassie, he vehemently denied while actually nodding his head. And nodding, as we all know, is the universal gesture of agreement. Next, the focus shifted to Brian's obsession with horror movies. As he talked about his twisted movie script and a killer named John MacArthur, his story started to fall apart. When asked about Torey's version, Brian deflected, but it was clear there was a deadly pattern emerging. The interrogators leaned into it all too happily, drawing parallels to Friday the 13th and Halloween, and the truth about their sick mentality started to slip through the cracks.
Probably like a jumpsuit or something.
Like Jason?
Yeah. Well, actually, Jason didn't wear a jumpsuit. But...
What?
Oh, well, Jason didn't wear a jumpsuit.
Who wore the jumpsuit?
That was Michael Myers.
Oh, it was Michael Myers. See, he does know his shit. And Halloween, right?
I do, yeah.
Okay. So who's more bad, Michael Myers or Jason?
I like Jason more.
Okay. What about Torey?
He's more of a Halloween fan than a Friday 13th fan.
So does Torey have a knife collection?
He has these little
Collection knives?
throwing knives. They're about
probably that big,
Okay.
and I think it's like a pocket knife.
Now, if you listened closely, Brian mentioned something about the knives Torey had. Well, as it turned out, one of Torey's friends, Joe Lucero, later testified that he bought 4 knives for both Torey and Brian, one serrated and the others plain. This key detail would further tie the boys to the murder, revealing just how premeditated their actions were. Anyway, at this point, there had been enough beating around the bush and the interrogators knew it. They were ready to lay up the trap for Brian. They hinted that Brian and Torey's obsession with horror movies might have pushed them to commit something so horrific. The subtle suggestion hit home, and the pressure started to build.
You need to get into a car with us, and you need to show us what houses you went to. That's what
I
needs
can't
to happen.
say exactly what
And dude, you're
houses.
You're not putting yourself in a very favorable position in this investigation.
Okay.
I'll come back here.
Well, I mean, you can talk to
We just
you.
talked to them. You're gonna go back out here in a second.
You want to talk
How
to
they
him?
react?
You know, you
They're
got great
supporting you,
parents,
man. They're
man.
supporting you. They're supporting you. They want what we want. They want to get you out from underneath something. If it is, they're totally 100% supportive. We're a team.
Now back to Torey, who was also spiraling downhill once the clever cops urged him to spill the truth. At this point, the police had discovered a startling amount of solid evidence to build the case, as you'll see next.
And one other thing I want to touch upon at night when you're out messing around, that's why I asked you earlier, just take any masks with you. Because we have some indications that you had some like Halloween type, scary mask or something. You guys playing around with those at any point in time? Or
We bought one earlier, but
where'd you buy that at?
Adam saw that. It was only $7 at.
Well, I'm talking that night. You guys
That night.
had some
It was
Halloween
in my
masks with you?
trunk of my car for a while though.
Was it in the car Friday night?
Yeah, probably was.
Okay.
Was that the mask you guys were spray painting? Is that
Yeah.
the one? That cardboard or
Yeah.
whatever?
When were they spray painting?
Apparently they bought a plastic or cardboard mask and spray painted white, but that was some time before.
Brand of cigarettes you smokes?
No, I don't.
Did you guys dig anything up there? I mean, because you're probably going to have dirt in the back of your car from a shovel from dirt that's going to forensically match
There
up.
was dirt on that shovel already though.
But I mean, we can match the dirt up. That's the good thing.
Possibly.
Let's talk about knives. Okay. What do you know about knives? We've been told you like knives. You collect
No.
knives? Okay,
I
so-
have 3 knives.
Okay.
As you can guess at this point, Torey had walked into his interrogation unaware that earlier that day his friend Brian had already led the police to Black Rock Canyon, where they buried the evidence that included knives, masks, matches, hydrogen peroxide, and worst of all, a video of Brian and Torey planning and reacting to Cassie's murder.
I just killed Cassie. We just left her house. This is not a fucking joke.
I'm shaking.
I stabbed her in the throat and I saw her lifeless body just disappear. Dude, I just killed Cassie. Oh, fuck. That felt like it wasn't real. I mean, it went by so fast.
Shut the fuck up. We gotta get our act straight.
And then the officers dropped another bombshell on Torey. His anxiety instantly turned into anger at Brian as he looked at the officer in shock. The hope that he'd held on to, that he and Brian were in this together till the end, vanished, along with any chance of walking out of that room a free man. He seemed almost on the verge of tears.
He's in custody.
He wasn't this afternoon.
He's in custody. Trust me.
I don't know how.
2 people in custody right now. You know exactly what happened and you know what you need to do. So, unfortunately, you're not going anywhere tonight. You're going to be placed into custody tonight. Okay? I'm sorry that's the way it goes.
You're going to
but
be
that's-
charged with first-degree murder.
When Torey heard he was being charged with murder, his reaction was exactly what he'd expect from a terrified teenager. And honestly, it was as close to a confession as it could be. Finally, we get Brian's confession. He looks strangely relieved, like the weight's been lifted now that the truth's out. He tries to shift the blame, claiming Torey pressured him, But at this point, it's too late. The truth's already out.
Are you sure that you don't stab her accidentally? Is that possible that that happens? Some of the stabs are real deep. You know, they're forceful. Those are not you, okay? I know that. And then some are real light. They said. And they said that some of them are just little pecks. And you know what? I'm thinking, you know, you're caught up in a situation. Is Torey, is the fact that he's doing this and scaring you, are you scared that if you don't do this, something might happen? I mean, is that possible?
The cops have what they need, but they hit Brian one last time, questioning him about stalking another victim and tightening the noose around Torey's role in the murder.
What about anything else? Did he talk about killing anything else? Or mutilating it, or did he...
He's talked about it. I just killed some animals.
Has he stabbed any of them before?
I don't think he's anything like that. No.
In the video, he talks about he wanted you to stab him so he could feel what it felt like or whatever before you guys, you know, committed suicide or whatever. Had he ever talked to you about that before? Did he want you to stab him?
Just at school, on the tape.
At long last, Brian and Torey were hit with first-degree murder charges and conspiracy to commit murder. Their defense? The gruesome videos were just part of a horror movie idea they were working on. But the tapes tell a different story, one where they mock serial killers like Ted Bundy and boast about getting their pleasure from killing. Sadly, the truth was chilling. Cassie was stabbed 30 times, 12 of those wounds deadly. After Matt left, the two ambushed her in a brutal attack, inspired by real-life killers and slasher flicks like Scream. In court, the jury saw through their story. Both were convicted of first-degree murder, sentenced to life in prison without parole, plus an additional 30 years for conspiracy. They'll spend the rest of their lives at Idaho State Correctional Institution. This isn't just a case of fantasy gone wrong. It's a real-life nightmare made by two kids who took their obsession too far. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.